glad that you're able to come and chat with us again. You got some exciting updates going on. I'd love to hear about them.
My pleasure. I'm not sure how exciting they are, but the market doesn't seem to think so. We're down what 2 or 3 cents. Two press releases. Each one is worth at least a drop of a penny, penny and a half per press release.
Well, here's the thing though. I wondered a couple things on them, Jack. Like take the Brunswick one. How does it affect Globex, an announcement like that? So we're going to try to get that across to the people that follow our viewership.
There's several things. Number one, we have royalties, and what it means is that the royalties gain value. The closer you get towards having an actual deposit and potentially going to production, the value of the royalty is more. It just in the generality of the picture, the company, if these two things are growing, then a lot of the other things, because we have 102 royalties, the potential is for a goodly number of those to also increase in value. Within Globex, we're getting nothing for our royalties. Our stock price is so low at $1, or 97 cents, whatever it is. It doesn't reflect, never mind the properties, but it doesn't reflect any added value for the royalties. We're complex, too complex for a lot of people. We think we're on the right road. We're going to continue down it.
Another one I was reading about, say Emperor raises money, issues stock and that. How does it affect the deal you have with them?
The money that they spend is money that we don't have to spend. The deal that we have with them is a 5-year deal, $10 million in cash payments, $12 million in shares. If I remember correctly, $15 million in work. At the end of the story, we retain a 3% gross overriding royalty. And I think there's even an advance royalty involved. For us, we take a smaller piece of the pie. Somebody else takes the dilution and the risk. That particular project, I think they're the 7th or 8th company to option it from us. And each one does more work, adds more value. Either the metal prices or, the markets give you a kick in the ass. The last one that had it before did good work. They added a couple 100,000 ounces and the stock price went down to 2 cents and the company had to give back the property. That's part of the thing we have built into our deals. You go all the way or the property comes back. So each time the companies add value, takes more risk, adds more ounces. If they don't complete, comes back to us and we have a property that we can sell for a higher price or option for a higher price.
From a shareholder's perspective, what would that mean to somebody like me?
It means that I'm not going to be diluting shareholding. It means that I'm generating revenue, which means, again, I don't have to go back to the market to raise more money and dilute you. And it also means that if the thing goes forward in production, that same scenario, but in multiplied, because we're going to have more money to do exploration, acquire more assets, and create more value for the company. It's brick by brick building. It's not a shot on something and then you hit or miss. Most companies, they have one property, they raise money. If they hit, they raise more money, dilute shareholders again. They go raise more money, buy another property, raise more money to do exploration, dilute. We don't do that. Our company's got 55 million shares out. Those are all original shares. We've never done a rollback and it's been around 40 years. The company's been around. There's nobody else who is as adverse to dilution as we are.
Yeah, we talked about that when we first chatted the last time. And so that's actually something that's stuck with me.
Radisson Mining Resources. So how in contact do you keep with a company like that that's working one of the projects?
We're in contact all the time. They have what they call the O'Brien property, which consists of the O'Brien mine, center of the property. On the west side is New Alger, and on the east side is Kawagama. We have royalties on the east side, the Kawagama, a 2% net smelter, and the New Alger on the west side, we have a 1% net smelter. They're doing great work. They're a perfect example of what I'm talking about. They're up to 320 million shares out. Their stock bounces between 17, 18 cents, might go to 20, then comes back because they're doing good work. But in order to do the good work, you have to issue shares to raise the money to explore. Whereas we're sitting on the side, thank you very much. You spend $10 million, great. You're adding ounces, great. That's not costing my shareholders anything. In this particular case, it's a bit different because we actually bought the Kawagama royalty. When the gold price was going nowhere, we approached the company and we bought the royalty. I think it was for $50,000. And then the other one, the Alger royalty, the company that had it wanted something from us, wanted us to give a concession on another project that they had under option from us. So he said, sure, okay, we'll do this and this, but you give us a royalty on that. They said, fine. Business in a different model, being sort of fast on your feet, just trying to take each opportunity and getting a gain for your shareholders on it.
Shareholders were watching it and seeing the stock almost break out through $1, kind of get going in that. And it looked people talking about it. Do you get calls or anything from other investors that are getting more excited about the market at least?
Yeah, we get calls from investors asking specific questions. Once in a while, rarely, I get a really nice email saying how wonderful I am. Never from my wife.
There you go.
Yeah, we get, like I had somebody in here today who loves Globex and he's taking a position.
So that would obviously be investors looking to play in the metals market. And of course, Globex is pretty diverse when it comes to metals, isn't it?
Actually, we're diverse into everything. I mean, metals, compounds, industrial minerals, specialty metals. I think I said it to you before. We view the final product as money. I don't really give a damn where it comes from. It comes from dolomite, or it comes from gold, or it comes from copper, or it comes from sodium sulfate. Who cares? We want to make money.
I wanted to ask you about the iron deposit at Shabuga, if I'm saying it right, because it sounds like an exciting project.
It is exciting. It was under option. It belongs now to a company called Cerrado, which are a gold company based in South America, but they're a Canadian company. They have gold operations that they're doing right now, and they're looking to carry that thing forward to production. It's really an interesting project. There's over 1.2 billion tons outlined. Globex has a 1% gross metal royalty on the iron, and Shabuga Independent, which was a spin out we gave to our shareholders, has a 2% on the iron and vanadium. That particular project, if it gets to production, which I think it will, not only is it open pit, the strip ratio is pretty much nothing because it's a hill. And what they're going to be doing for the first, 5-6 years is just bringing the hill down. A hell of a nice project. It's perfect material for iron. It has an advantage because you don't need to, the type of material allows you to process it using electricity rather than coking coal. So it has an advantage on the CO2 front, on becoming more environmentally friendly. It has a big advantage on that. And it's a long-term, large deposit. Like I said, already 1.2 billion tons. And it's very close to Shabugamu. There's a paved highway crosses the property. It's already been forested, the whole area. So, it shouldn't be no problem. You don't have to deal with, cutting all the trees and stuff, except on the little hill there. They're really cool project.
When do you think it'll go into production? What do you guess?
Want me to guess whether my wife loves me?
Good Lord.
I don't think I'm going to venture a guess because it depends on metal prices, depends on markets, depends on management, depends on raising money. It's a fool's game to give you a number and then come back to me in a year and say, you're full of crap. But,
Depends on her mood, it sounds like.
yeah, you got to be careful and giving projections like that.
The other project I wanted to ask you about was the IAMGOLD deal that you have. How does it look to you these days? Because it looks like cash flow comes from there soon, right?
Last quarter we got almost $250,000. The thing that's cool about that, a little story behind it. There was a company that had that royalty and went bankrupt, and the receiver that was selling it couldn't find anybody to buy it. And he had 3 claims that was tying on to one of my properties that he didn't sell. So I called him to buy those 3 claims, which we did. I bought it for like $500 or something. Have you got anything else you want to get rid of? And he said, well, we got these 2 royalties. So I said, well, I'll help you close your file. I'll give you $2,500 each. He said, like, we can't possibly sell it for that. Well, I said, well, that's what I'm willing to pay you just to help you out. A month later, he calls me and he says, okay, he couldn't find anybody to buy it. Well, 2 royalties, each one on Fayol, which now the last payment was $250,000. So that's a nice return on $2,500, I would say. The one before that was about $50,000. It's weird, you just have to jump on opportunities, like I said before. And the other one that I bought for $2,500 is a big whack of ground tying on to the northwest side, a Cisco mine, the big open pit, the largest open pit gold mine. And it's also owned by Cisco and includes the East Amphi deposit and a couple other areas of good gold mineralization, and we picked that up for $250,000. I bet you that's going to be going into production. We can wait. This year, if it's 10 years from now, makes no difference. I think I mentioned to you one property we had. We waited 25 years to finally sell it. We went through 3 different managements before find the management that was willing to pay, and they paid us $1 million. I think it was 1.1 million for the property.
Nice.
You can wait.
Yeah, no, that sounds very promising and very interesting. It'll be good to follow it along. But speaking of the IAMGOLD property, we're actually starting to plan out our first episode of Mine Stalkers, and IAMGOLD is along the route. It looks like, so it'd be cool to possibly pop in for a visit.
How's the infrastructure near IAMGOLD's property?
We can go up there, see if we can arrange a property visit, go into the pit.
With all the mergers and acquisitions I'm starting to hear about kind of in the big leagues, is it changing the market for looking for royalty deals?
The market for royalty deals generally is difficult because there's guys with deep pockets who are willing to pay reasonable prices for things. So, and we're bottom feeders. We're looking for those opportunities that have the potential to create exceptional value, not just good value. Being a cheap SOB, I don't want to pay big prices because the metal prices are much better. So people who were asleep before aren't sleeping now. Like I wouldn't be able to go and buy a royalty for $2,500 nowadays because even the stupidest person is going to pay more than that, you know? At the other time, gold wasn't moving, so who cares? And it wasn't in production. We got 2 assets that were in the process of acquiring, 2 really cool gold projects. Actually, both very cool gold projects.
Well, that would make for some good announcements coming up. How about uranium? Because I know you started to work in that space.
Yeah, I have 2 large of uranium assets. And both of them have been vended, one to a company out of Australia and one to a company out of Vancouver. One has very large tonnage, low grade, and the other one has the start of a potentially large tonnage, low grade. They have economic potential. They're going to be kind of cool if the companies carry them forward like they propose. Uranium price is doing a very nice dance at the moment.
What's your biggest focus, say, trying to find anything new? Is it mainly in the precious metals?
I'm an opportunist. I don't really care. I think I said it again before. It's about the money.
At least you're honest.
And if something's not in favor now, even better. I had my geologist in the US looking at Pazolin, and you probably have never heard of Pazolin before. Well, Pazolin is used in cement and environmentally does more in the way of carbon capture. In the municipality of Dalhousie in New Brunswick, there's a company that is trying to get a Pazolin deposit into production, and they're having opposition. Honestly, I'd never heard the word Pazolin before. I saw it brought up. Immediately, I started looking. Maybe we'll come up with something. Who knows?
I was reading another one, a property ad in Nevada. Was it a gold property?
We've just acquired a number of projects in Nevada and Arizona, gold, rare earths properties. So both. You acquire what you can acquire when it's available.
What about on the sell side? What makes you decide when to sell a project?
When somebody knocks on the door and says, what do you got? You know, I had some guys here this week from Australia, and they contacted me a couple months ago, and I've been around enough that people know of us, called us up and said, you know, have you got anything really interesting in advanced stage? And so I sent them a couple things. They liked one that we have in Ontario, so they were here this week. They went out to the property, took a look at the access, geology they could see on the surface. Came back here, we set up a data room. They spent time in the data room, looked at it, and they say they like it. They're going to make a proposal.
As we go into the second half of 24, how do you feel for Globex's bottom line?
Obviously, I'm trying to make it even better than it is. For example, in June, we get another $3 million from Agnico Eagle. We have more to come. We're in the period of time where metal prices are rising, and this is part of the time where we should be generating revenue, which we are doing.
Metal prices go up, say substantially. It affects your bottom line, whether you do a new deal or not, just based on the royalty structures you have now.
It affects our bottom line in the potential of making more option deals and generating more short-term revenue. Also affects the bottom line for things like Fayol, which is in production. As the price of gold goes up, we end up with more dollars per ounce that they produce. In the future, it makes the value of our royalty assets greater, whether or not we realize it today or tomorrow or in 5 years from now, but the value increases.
A royalty company, especially one like Globex, it is complicated. The nature of the deals and how things affect it, such as the price of metal. So that'll help.
Even I don't understand it.
Really? Okay. Well, you've done a good job over the 40 years of running it, though. I mean, I bet there was no textbook on how to do it.
If I did a good job, I'd be on a beach in Brazil instead of talking to you.
Oh, wow.
Well, I got to say, though, I'm glad you did talk to us. We needed an update like that, and that'll be very helpful for the people that are viewing it. So we appreciate that you took the time today to do it out of your busy schedule.
Pleasure.
Seeking the inside track on Globex? Look no further than minestalkers.com. Our cutting-edge search tool is not only designed to reveal hidden gems, but also provides real-time stock updates. Visit for the insights and stay for the gains. Seize the opportunity and explore the magic at minestalkers.com. Uncover new investment possibilities today. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video. Let's get the word out there.